Greetings. My name is Bill Albert, and I'm president of BMI Global Consulting, and this is the fifth and final video in a series where we were really taking it and asked the question, if your salespeople and your operations team understood the business like you understand the business, could it make a financial difference in your 2025 financial outcomes? We had suggested the answer was yes. And so over the course of the last 5 weeks, we've taken a look at what is cost to serve. What is break even? Why are they important? And maybe the most important of all of this is, why do our people need to know it? And the answer to our question for number 4, I'm just going to give it to you, is that we believe that the more information that your people have, the better your people understand the business and see it the way you see the business. Ultimately, the better business decisions they're going to make, and those better business decisions are going to lead to higher margins and a better performance for your organization. That's why we believe your people need to understand the business like you understand the business. So we started off by taking a look at this formula. We had mentioned several times, in fact, we shared this presentation with NAED. They're completely on board. NAED has a PAR report that they put out on a regular basis. In a previous PAR report, they had suggested that the average cost to process an invoice, and we're talking your traditional flow business, is around $175. Now, this is not the formula, but man, it's really close. So if you want to get a rough guesstimate on how much it's actually costing you to process an invoice, here you go. Take a look at your 2023, or if you have it now, your 2024 total operating expenses, and divide that number by the total number of invoices you processed during that calendar year. And that number is going to be somewhere between $153 on the low end to potentially well over $200 on the top end. Now, in the work that we've done over the course of the last 2-3+ years, $175 seems to be pretty average for us. We agree with NAED's numbers. Moving forward, if you have an idea of what your numbers look like, you can actually plug that into the calculations we're about to show you. So we had taken a look at break even, if you remember in our last video, and we said, okay, so in this example, what break even does, it compares your gross profit margin to your expenses. So we're taking a look at gross profit, in this case is $20,000. We're taking a look at my fixed and variable expenses, which is also $20,000. And what we're seeing is, if my gross profit margin, my gross margin is greater than my expenses, I make money. If my margin, my profit is less than my expenses, I lost money. If they're equal, I broke even. I didn't make any money and I didn't lose any money. And additionally, what it tells us is how much money I need to make in order to exceed my costs and begin to turn a profit. And what we've been using here for purposes of demonstration, because it's just easy, quite honestly, to do the math, not suggesting this is your mix, is we're using a 75 fixed expense versus 25 variable expense ratio. We understand that your fixed expenses, they're just that, they're fixed. Where we believe in your organization, you have a chance to make real headway, make significant impact on profitability, is when it comes to your variable expenses. And so what we kind of like to do is take a look one last time of the number that we had looked at, which was this sales reps numbers. 3,166,000 plus worth of sales, almost 700,000 in gross profit dollars, 22 cents on a dollar. And this sales rep, the branch manager, and their sales managers all believed that they had performed really well. The reality is they'd actually lost $129,000, and we were taking a look at the total number of invoices. Remember, we talked about activity in the last couple of slides. And 4,719 invoices. If my cost was actually $175, that's $825,000 plus worth of direct cost to the branch to process that work. And below, if we take a look at $825,000, 75% of that is my fixed expenses, that's $619,000 plus, I can't do anything about. What I can do something about is the $206,000 worth of variable expense. And just as a kind of a fun comparison, I look at my variable expense as $206,456, and I look at my adjusted gross profit dollars, and it's $129,000. I'm saying, how do I get a handle on my variable expense, and can I bring that in line? So if you're talking to your salespeople about errors, or your operations folks and your warehouse folks, man, we need to reduce errors. If you're talking to your folks about, man, we got to ship when complete, we need to reduce the number of times we're making deliveries back and forth to our customers, these next couple of slides are meant directly for you as we take a look at the impact that this has on profitability through the lens of warehouse and actually the pull, pack, and ship process. So here's an order, $3,290. Our sales rep was comfortable selling at 20%. I don't know what was in the Eclipse system, if you would, but they made 20%. They saw $658. They said they did their job and they were very happy. Now let's go back to that $175 to process the invoice, make those deliveries. If I get that work out the door in one delivery at $175, I've got to subtract that from my $658. You see where I'm going with this? Now instead of having $658 on my sale before I did any of the work, I'm already down to $483.14.7. And it just took one delivery. Now watch this. What happens if it takes me 3 deliveries to get that work out the door? Instead of making $658, I'm down to $133. Instead of making 20 cents on a dollar, I'm making 4 cents on a dollar. All of a sudden, that $3,290 sale, I'm losing money quickly. And if it's taking me 5 times, I actually lost $217. Warehouse managers, if you're watching this and you're telling your people, man, we have to try to get a handle on the number of deliveries, this is the reason why your people need to understand this. Not just you're trying to get them to work harder. There's real financial implications on doing the business the way we conceivably are doing it in some cases. Let's say their sales rep actually sold at not 20%, 22%. Say instead of $658, it's $724. I'm still losing money when it's taking me 5 invoices to get, or 5 times and 5 deliveries to get it out the door. In fact, I have to get to 28%, which by the way is probably closer to what's in your Eclipse system or your ordering system anyway, in order to begin to even make money on that deal. And even then, on $3,290 worth of sales, I only made $46 on the end. So why is it important to see it this way? Let's take down that fixed and variable expense process that we talked a little bit about, 75% being fixed, 25% being variable. And just follow the numbers. Can you see what happens when we take a look at that first delivery? $131 of my expense are fixed. I can't do anything about it. I have $44 worth of variable expense. That's cool. It's when I get to 3 and 4 and my variable expenses now are $219 and I lost $217, I can begin the process of taking a look at the numbers and say, man, is there a better way, a more efficient way, a more effective way that we can be running the business? But if your people don't understand this process and they don't understand the rationales of why you're asking them to do this, they may be telling you yes and then going back and doing exactly the same thing they've always done. We want to try to avoid that. This is why we believe knowledge is power. So, a lot of stuff going on here. If you'd like to learn more, we would love the opportunity to kind of share with you because it's certainly much deeper than some of the slides that we've shown you here. If you have questions, please ask. If you want to push back for our learning, you work in the industry, we'd love to hear from you. But until next time, continued blessings, and we look forward to speaking with you.